What's up, ATOZ Sports Live on a Monday. Another bad loss for the Titans on Sunday. A second one this season at the hands of the Indianapolis Colts, where Jonathan Taylor looks like an MVP candidate. The Titans are helping him make a case for that. Another 3 touchdowns on Sunday. That's 6 total touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor against this Titans team. And Mike McCoy is making himself look bad. I think he's also sinking the Titans further, including quarterback Cam Ward. We'll talk about the moment of that game where the Titans had a chance to compete, but the interim head coach, took it out of his quarterback's hands, and we'll discuss that mentality moving forward and what this team can try to do in the remaining 9 games this season has left on the schedule. And I've got 2 Titans players that I think need a bigger role overall because I see some positives. And so we're not going to talk all negative today. We will talk about some positives. And Zach, I did something for the first time on Sunday for this season. And so we'll discuss that maybe once we get deeper into this show. So Zach, welcome in. Hope you had a good weekend. Let's get this thing off and rolling.
Yeah, another rough Sunday for Titans fans watching the abomination that is their team. So we'll dive into it. It's tough, but I'm curious just to hear what your positives are. I don't know what those are. So
I actually have 3 positives, 2 players and another Titans related positive.
One step closer to the draft.
All 3 things happened yesterday.
Okay, well, that will be towards the second half of the show. We are broadcasting live on 3 different platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Get you locked in right there. We will tweet out segment by segment, link by link on our Twitter/X timeline at ATOZ Sports. Give us a follow there. If you are love the NFL, give us a follow at ATOZ Sports NFL. That's our other Twitter/X timeline. But for Titans fans, we will tweet out each segment on that Twitter handle. Easiest way to jump in and participate in this show and all of our live streaming shows, whether they are game day shows, the morning show, or primetime, is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So hit the subscribe button. You can go to YouTube, search ATOZ Sports Nashville. You'll see the icon. You can subscribe. The next thing that you need to do is there's also the ability to be notified. Ring the bell, live alerts. There's a button that says notify me. That's important. When we go live, you get notified. You can jump in on the conversation. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Facebook, what's going on, Facebookers? Bottom left-hand corner of your screen, share now to public. Sharing is caring and caring is sharing, as we say on this show. Share the show on your Facebook friends' timeline. We need to pop up there so they can get in on the action. We get their opinion and get their comments. So big show today as the Titans fall again to the Colts, but there's still Cam Ward. There's still rookies. There's still interim coach. There's still some topics that we need to discuss and unpack, and we'll get you guys locked in and ask you guys questions to interact throughout the course of the show. So let's get going.
Yep, episode officially welcome to ATOZ Sports here on a Monday. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. We are powered by the BTA Sports app. You can download that app today. Use our link in the Facebook title and the show description, code ATOZ14 for a 14-day free trial. We go live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. A 5-star Google review can go a long way for us. I had one come in over the weekend. I saw via my email, hey, how about the 5-star Google review? We'll absolutely take that. Appreciate you guys for doing that. This one was Justin right there. But do have to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, boneandjointtn.org. Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs, local and online at bartondrury.com. Botero Carts, life is short, buy a golf cart. 2 locations for you, Columbia and Gallatin. And Window Nation, buy 2 windows, get 2 windows for free. Make no payments for 2 years at windownation.com. So Zach, we'll talk about my 3 positives later on the show. But we have to talk about the game that was a misery to watch, just like it seems most of these Titans games have become. The Titans outscored in the second half by a lot. And then they tack on a trash garbage time touchdown to make it 38-14 when it was 38-7 for the majority of that second half. And so let's hear from interim coach Mike McCoy after his team falls 0-2 under his watch, 1-7 overall on this Titans season as we enter Halloween week. Here's the interim coach in his opening statement at the presser yesterday.
Things, as you saw, a couple with the injuries. 99 went down with the knee injury, 25 with the ham, and then 39 with a concussion. That's kind of the injuries we had. You saw a couple other guys get rolled up that went back in the game. So I'll give you updates tomorrow. Okay, looking back at the game, you look at it, we had an opportunity at the end of the half. I think the offense did a great job of getting in position there to kick a field goal, and unfortunately, we didn't miss it, or we missed it, knowing, you go out, you talk about it, scoring at the end of the half and then getting the ball to start the second half, and unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. And then, getting after that first series, getting outscored 28-0 there was a tough way to start and get rolling there. So we got to do a better job overall as an entire football team. And, the run defense, you got to be able to stop the run. We understand we came in here against a really good team that runs the ball. We had missed opportunities, third down situations during the game early on, opportunity for big play we didn't hit. So it's just we got to play better.
So there's Mike McCoy there, who is I would describe Mike McCoy as the current Nashville weather. It's gray. It's 8:15, Zach, and it's kind of dark outside. Like, I feel like people can see me inside my office window because of how dark it is outside and how bright it is inside my office. Mike McCoy gives zero juice. I hate having to listen to it, to be honest.
It's like he's not trying. I think here's the hard part. Mike McCoy had his head coaching opportunity, right? That's in the past. He's never going to get one again. The only circumstance that he was going to get a head coaching opportunity is in the current circumstance, is being an interim head coach. And you could take the opportunity and run with it and try to be a leader and try to earn another head coaching job because you've turned the worst team in the league to win a couple of games, something. And he's just literally not doing that. He's giving up. It's like he's giving up on his career. I'm going to say this. It's done for him. He's okay with being a coordinator. He's at that point in his life. He's sailing it in.
Well, he hadn't even been a coordinator in a while either.
He's not even watching the damn game. You stop the run. Yeah, of course you got to stop the run. Oh, we had opportunities. No, you didn't. You didn't have an opportunity to stop the run. But and then third downs. The Colts weren't in third downs because they were making so many plays on first and second down. I don't know what game he's watching. We're going to get into the fourth down call, but it is wild to hear this man speak. And I agree with your analogy. It's like a dreary ass day on a Monday. That's exactly what it feels like. You don't want to go out and walk your dog because you don't want the dog to get wet because then you're going to have to dry the dog off. You're looking outside. It's doom and gloom. You just got your ass beat by your division rival and embarrassed by a single player, Jonathan Taylor. And you've been embarrassed for the last 5 times that you've played. Count 6 losses in a row to this Colts team. This is embarrassing. And Mike McCoy feels, and this is my opinion, feels like he could care less. It's just another week. That has to drive you nuts.
Yeah.
If you're a Titans fan, if you're associated with the team, if you're a part of the damn team, if you're a front office member, if you're in marketing, if you work at the stadium, Nissan Stadium, and you're somewhat associated, that should irritate you. It's wild. This guy is, I mean, are they watching this? Are they listening to him? He's scratching his head up there on the podium. He doesn't know.
I mean, he hasn't been an offensive coordinator since 2018. He took a few years off, spent that time with his family, which he talked about. I think Mike McCoy is a good guy. Like I've heard a lot about. I've heard
we're not in the business of good guys.
I'm just saying. I've heard other people talk about Mike McCoy that have zero connection to the Titans around the NFL that have played for him at some stop along the way, whether it was back in Denver, back when he was the head coach of the Chargers. I mean, hell, Shane Steichen was his quarterback coach. And talks globally. So I think he does a good job at certain things, but he is not a head coach. He's certainly not an interim coach. And I think, Jason says McCoy was handed a terrible situation. Absolutely. And being an interim coach with 12 or 11 games to go is a miserable situation because now the locker room has been lost, right? Because there is give up moments all the time now that there's an interim coach. And so normally when a coach is fired in season and an interim coach comes in, you expect that interim bump, right? We always talk about that interim juice. Well, that's when the interim coach has some juice, when the interim coach has something to prove. Like Arkansas is a terrible football team in college football. They fired Sam Pittman 3 games ago. They played 3 games since they fired Sam Pittman. Zach, they've come close to like kind of winning all those games. They should not have been that close at Tennessee. They should have been that close hosting Texas A&M, and they should have beat Auburn on Saturday. But that's because Bob Petrino is out here trying to get the damn job. Like
Mike McCoy's not.
No,
that's
he's
the
not.
difference.
No, he's not. And so he was, and Orlando said this. I lost the comment. I was going to show it. But Orlando says that it's obvious that he was hired to be a senior offensive assistant. He was brought into this coaching staff in the spring to assist Brian Callahan. And now he's having to run the whole show. And I get the philosophy over you do that because you don't have to disrupt anything else. I understand that, but there is zero juice from this guy, Mike McCoy, and he's hurting the team more than he's helping it at this point.
I think that's my issue. Do I expect the Titans to be competitive or to win? No, probably not. But I at least expect him to act like a head coach or act like a leader. You talk about that firing head coach bump. The Titans got that. It just lasted 2 quarters, and then it went away. It was last week.
And you know what happened? You know how it left? You know how the air got let out of that interim coach bump? Mike McCoy, with all of his timeouts, decided to go to halftime with 40 seconds left and a chance to go put some points up. He decided it.
Yeah, he's playing it so safe and toting the company line so much that's why I think it's difficult. The Colts are one of, if not the best team in the NFL. At home, the Titans were not going to be competitive. The line was 14.5, then moved to 15 right before Vegas was like, we can't move this line any further. Like we morally cannot move this to 17 points. We want to. Yeah. We would love to, but we can't. So everybody knew that they were going to lose. I think for Titans fans, and this is tough, watching this football team, it is the worst football team in the league. I've told you. I mean, and if anybody watched the Jets have some fight for Nick Mangold and that entire franchise and Aaron Glidden, their head coach, it was yesterday at the end of the game against Cincinnati, driving down to score and then defending at the end of the game.
So Jarvis Brownlee Jr., right?
That is something that the Titans cannot do. The Titans are the worst team in the league. It's confirmed, check mark. But you just want the brand ambassadors because Jeffrey Simmons is not playing, right? I mean,
it's hurt.
You don't have how many times do they show him on the sidelines? They want to. They want
make Jeff the interim coach,
right? They want. Well, no, we don't do that.
Kidding.
But they want to have this brand ambassador, and we're going to dive into Mike McCoy's decision making in the game here shortly. But damn it, Austin, Mike McCoy's got to stand up there and act like he's trying to earn something in his life.
Yeah,
he's not trying. He's 53, and I hate to say this, but he's given up on his head coaching dreams. They're done. They're cooked. And if you hear the rumors, and I was not close to the situation with the Chargers when he was the head coach, but the aftermath, Chargers fans were so relieved when they got rid of Mike McCoy. There was a sigh of relief of like, okay, that guy was definitely not the guy. At least act the part. he doesn't have to play the part, and he's struggling to play the part with in-game situations. But in the press conference, I don't know. Give me more. I think that's where I'm struggling.
We're going to turn to the biggest in-game situation that was completely botched by Mike McCoy, and we'll do that here in a second. But first, Zach, tell everybody about our great friends at the Barton Drury Insurance Group.
Yeah, Barton Drury Insurance Group is where you need to go to get your insurance, whether it is your personal or your company. We've got both. A to Z is supported by Barton Insurance Group for our health coverage. Me personally, I've got my home and auto bundled under an umbrella, so it saves me money. Cover risk, empower confidence. That's exactly what they do, and they're local. The worst thing is going to an insurance company, the big dogs, and not being able to reach anybody or not being able to know who you're speaking to. They don't care. Well, Barton Drury Insurance Group does care, and they're real people. They will be there for you in your time of need. That's when you need insurance, whether it's an auto accident, whether it's, accidents happen, that happens. You need somebody to rely on. Home insurance, you have to have. You need a good provider. And the same thing goes for your company if that is the case and that is your circumstance. 615-806-1265. I've trusted Barton Drury Insurance Group for some time. I believe you should too. We reap the benefits of it. You can too.
All right, with BTA Sports, you can win. I won 2 bets yesterday. I went 2 out of 3 with Gunnar Helm over 22.5 and Chim Dike over 30.5. Shout out to BTA Sports. Got both of those probabilities on the app before I placed that bet to make me a smarter sports better to win. I lost to Tony Pollard over 13.5 receiving yards. He was close. He had 9. He went one more catch, but that went to Tajay Spears. But BTA Sports will help you out, win some money. I won money. I've already made back, I think, probably double what I invested in BTA Sports on the season-long pass. But right now, you can get a 14-day free trial by clicking the link on our Facebook title in the YouTube description. You click that link or use the code ATOZ14 to download the app and get a 14-day free trial. Normally, it's a 3-day free trial, but a 14-day free trial for a weekly subscription of just $9.99 with BTA Sports, better for bettors. All right, Zach, we're setting the scene here. So the Titans missed the field goal at the end of the half. It was a longer field goal, but Joey Sly has made those. He's coming off of an injury. So, you know what? It is what it is. Joey Sly is an 85% field goal kicker. He's going to miss some. But that would have made it 17-10 at half if he would have made it. But 17-7 at half with you getting the ball back. You drive down the field. You're in plus territory at the 42-yard line of the Indianapolis Colts. It is 4th and 3. 4th and 3, you were down 10 to the number 1 team in your conference, in your division, on the road. You're an interim head coach. You have nothing to lose. You are 1-6, and you decide to punt. It goes into the end zone. You gain 22 yards of field position as a touchback happens. Instead of going for it on 4th and down, here is Mike McCoy on that decision.
Why not go for the 4th and 3 there at the Colts 42, though?
Well, it was something we talked about. Hindsight, you look back, say, God, the last thing I thought they were going to do would have the big touchdown run after that. So, yeah, God, you look back, say, God, I should have gone for that. But, initially when I said to punt it, you pin them deep, and the defense, had done a nice job through the second quarter, and you pin them deep, get the ball back. But looking back, that's when you wish you said, God, we just went for it.
You're coaching on situations like that just as conservatively as Brian was doing, and Brian got fired. Why not come in and be different than Brian instead of more Brian?
Well, like I've said from you guys from day one, you look at situations, you do certain things. What was the success of the play before that? Certain things, you go, how are you playing in 3rd down? There's so many things that go into it, and I just talked to you about why I did it.
What about that question? Why not be different than Brian than more?
I'm my own self. I'm Mike.
I'm Mike. Zach, I'm going to ask you a question. That's Mike. That's Mike McCoy. Is Mike McCoward too harsh of a nickname? Is it a fair nickname to call him Mike McCoward at this point? Because I'm going to give you some stats. That 4th down punt is a surrender index that is a Twitter X account that talks about the aggressive or cowardly decisions on punting. Tennessee decided to punt to Indy from the 42 on 4th and 3 with 11:30 remaining in the 3rd quarter while losing 7-17. Surrender index score of 27.01. This punt ranks the 99.6th percentile of cowardly punts this season and the 97th percentile of all punts since 1999. So there's only 3% of punts more cowardly than that decision to punt the football. And based off of what I said, this is his second week, right? He decided to cowardly go into the halftime against the Patriots with 3 timeouts in his pocket and wasting 46 seconds or so to get points there. Is Mike McCoward a fair nickname for Mike McCoy at this point?
Look, this is why you get paid to make those decisions in game. Brian Callahan, week 1 against Denver, too aggressive on his own goal line, and they yield points because he's throwing the football, right? So there is a mix. Where you are in your season, though, you are an interim head coach. You have the worst team in football. You have to protect the football team from early blowouts, but you have to try to be competitive. I think it speaks to what I'm trying and wanting and yearning more for Mike McCoy to do is tell me and then show me with actions that you're trying to compete. And punting the football in that situation, your rookie quarterback's cussing at you saying, "Come on, Mike." You know, he's not even saying, "Come on, coach." He's saying, "Come on, Mike."
What are we doing?
What are we doing? Now, do they get it? I don't know. That's why you play the game. It's 3 yards. Are they good at getting 3 yards? Hell no, they're not good at getting 3 yards. But you're in range. It's not kick the field goal. You're 2 outside of that. So it is punt or go for it. To come out of the half, that's also a figure to show some belief in your offense that doesn't really give you a lot of opportunity to believe in them. And so, yes, hindsight's 2020. I don't disagree with Mike McCoy there. Yeah, looking back on it, I like how he admitted he should have gone for it. He could have played stubborn and said, "That was my decision. I stick with my decision." He didn't do that. So I at least appreciate that. But you have to be a little bit aggressive. You can't be too aggressive because your team stinks. But that is a clear-cut situation. Here's the last thing I'll say before you respond.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell, I always refer back. He has the team to be as aggressive as he is. The Eagles have the team and the play to be as aggressive as they are on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, right? Because the tush push. The Titans don't have any of that. So it does make this decision more difficult, but that's one where you can at least try to get in the game, and it shows your team that you believe in them more than maybe you do.
I agree. I mean, because what do you have to lose, right? What do you actually have to lose? Because you are sitting here against a juggernaut of a team, somehow only down 10 points, and you have the ball, and you've shown some stuff on offense. You've gotten a touchdown drive. They punted from I guess they had a third. They punted from the Colts 48 in the first half. So they punted from the Colts territory across midfield in the first half, right before they got a defensive stop and missed the field goal. So I think that's a fine time to punt because you're playing field position going into the half. But you are coming out of halftime with the football, an opportunity to put some actual pressure on the Colts. So put them in conflict. And I left out the 80-yard touchdown run from Jonathan Taylor on play 1 after the touchback, which is a big deal, obviously, because the game was over, right? It was 17-7. You punt. It's a touchback, play 1, 80 yards the other way. Now it's 24-7, ball game. There's no chance anymore. It's donezo. And so at least by going for it, you have a chance to convert to that 4th down. And then now you're just maybe delaying the blowout a little bit. Let's hear from Cam Ward, the quarterback here, on his thoughts on that 4th and 3 punt from the opponent's 42-yard line.
Would you like to be aggressive in that 4th and 3, go for it, go down and get 4 instead of seeing a punt?
If it was up to me, I want to go for it every chance I get, just because I'm a competitor. That's just my breed. That's just what I want to do out of my football journey. It's just I just think it's the missed opportunity just for us as a team to get a first down, keep the drive moving. But I mean, we weren't down that much at that time, so we're gonna always support whatever decisions made. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't put ourselves in that position. We just get the first down, the 3rd down.
Feedback? Did you give Mike that feedback before the punt?
What do you mean?
Like before the decision to punt, were you able to give Mike Mike that feedback that, hey, I want to go for it?
I mean, I'm thinking I'm going for it as soon as I cross the 50 every time. And I'm not talking to him on the headset. I'm talking, Bo's the only one who can talk to me on the headset because he's calling the plays. But I mean, I'm trying to go for it. But I know we're going to end up going for it eventually.
And so there's Cam Ward. I like Cam Ward. Should have got on third down. Like I like that. I like that from Cam because he's taking some responsibility there. But still, like that is such a that's a we got nothing to lose. Let's put some pressure on this Colts defense. And if you get it, see where it goes from there to put points on the board before the game gets out of hand. Because anytime the Colts touch the ball next, it's an opportunity for the game to be over.
Let's get into the specifics because Cam Ward said that anytime you're across the 50, he wants to go for it. I think that was just in jest, right? But
I think that's what he believes. I think he understands that.
That's not always the circumstance because
Sure.
you brought up the circumstance that I think is a very good comparison earlier in the game. They have 4th and 4 on Indianapolis's 48-yard line.
Yeah.
4th and 4 on the 48 is different, as crazy as it sounds, than 4th and 3 on the 42. Because if you get the 3 yards, I think the probability of getting points or attempting a field goal probably greatly increases, right? If you get a first down after the 48, maybe it doesn't. You're still in that in-between mode.
Yeah.
And 4 yards is different than 3 yards, obviously. So
Yes.
I think for two circumstances, because they're different, you punt the ball on 4th and 4 like they did and try to pin them back. On 4th and 3, you're so close to the field goal attempt. And yes, we're not thinking about touchdowns. You're thinking about field goal attempts. And because it's 17-10. I mean, if you can get to 17-13 and you kick the ball away, you've extended the game, right? Or shortened the game, really. You haven't extended. You're shortening the game to say, all right, tick, tick, tick. We just need to run our offense. The unfortunate part, and here's the key catalyst, they have a bad punt. They come back and boom, one play, 80-yard touchdown. Demoralizing.
Yeah. And that's and I have I'm in a group chat with our guy Ryan Roberts and Easton and JT, and we've had Mike McCoy's leaned on the complimentary football vagueness too often. And whenever you bring up needing to play complimentary football, in my opinion, you need to present specific situations. That is a perfect example of failing at complimentary football. If you decide to punt on 4th and 3 at the 42, okay, that's your decision. It better be a good punt because the whole point of doing it is to pin them deep. And if you kick a touchback, that's not complimentary football. Okay, now you got to get a stop because you kicked a touchback. Now you got to get a stop, play good defense. Oh, you gave up an 80-yard touchdown run on the first damn play. That's bad. That's all 3 phases failed. All 3 phases failed in like a 30-second time span. All of them.
Who do you think the options were to hire as the interim head coach?
I mean, I know it really didn't get past Mike McCoy, but because he didn't disrupt anything else. But Bones Fossil was on that, the special teams coordinator, who I think everybody would have loved, and then Denard Wilson, but the coordinator. But Denard Wilson, he's got too much in him. He's got too much going on. Like the defense sucks too. We all know that.
I say that because I truly believe Mike McCoy's not getting another head coaching job. But if you put another interim head coach in that is trying to vie for an opportunity and showcase his talents, I think he's more aggressive.
Agree.
Mike McCoy is very conservative because he's not climbing the ladder anymore. He's not. He's climbed the ladder. He's gotten to the top and he had to drop back down. There's no incentive for him to be aggressive. And that, I think, hinders this very bad football team.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. All right, let's get to this question because I think, I'm curious to see what the audience feels because the majority, if not all, believed that Brian Callahan deserved to lose his job for what was happening this season, whether it was in season or after the season or after the game that he was fired. But let's ask this. Are the Titans worse, better, or the same with Mike McCoy as head coach? Are they worse, better, or the same with Mike McCoy as the head coach? We'll get to your thoughts on this. I will also put up a YouTube poll because we have 3 options here, so we get some specific data on that one. But first, I'm going to tell you guys about Window Nation. How about some data with this? Window Nation is going to save me money by buying these new windows for my home, because they're going to actually keep it the temperature that me and my family want it to be inside, and not be affected by the fall changes of, man, it gets cold overnight. So you got to flip that heat on. But then by the time the afternoon comes around, kind of getting toasty. You got to flip the AC back on. That's where we're at right here in the Nashville area. But Window Nation is going to help us cut down that snip, snap, flip, flop, back and forth situation here, because they're going to have top of the line windows installed in our home in the month of November, and I could not be more excited. It's been such a great process. Window Nation, it's been zero pressure. I signed up for a free presentation. They came by the house, a free estimate. They looked at all the windows. They showed us what the net negative windows that we have are. They're metal windows, the builder grade windows. They're terrible. They're not doing their job other than just keeping the wind out, kind of. But these new windows have triple layer silver in them. They're going to help us out. They're easy to clean. They look great. They raise the value of our home. And it's so easy because buy 2 windows, you get 2 windows free. You don't spend any money, and at least for 2 years if you want to. That you're saving thousands and thousands of dollars. I highly suggest doing this. Great people at windownation.com.
ATOZ Sports, we're powered by BTA Sports, better for bettors. They can help you. You got a great, I think it's going to be a good game tonight. You got Commanders, you've got Chiefs. The Chiefs are not what the Chiefs used to be, but they're trending up. The Commanders have their own issues, but they get some pieces back in McLaurin and Deebo Samuel. You can go look at the props. Go look at what BTA Sports says that you should maybe do, and then you can go play that. The sports books try to take your money. BTA Sports helps you earn it. Use the promo code ATOZ14 when you download the BTA Sports app. You get a 14-day free trial before the weekly subscription of $99. You can do that. It is or $9.99, excuse me, for the week. You start winning money, that pays for itself pretty easily. Smart bets, no guessworks. That's BTA Sports, better for bettors.
All right, it looks like Washington is plus 11 in Vegas. That might be a good play. It's a big number.
You've seen Mariota. He played very bad in relief duty against the Cowboys. You've also seen him play well, weirdly.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And
the 11 is.
Do you know where Marcus Mariota plays well? Arrowhead Stadium in prime time under the lights. How about that? Throwing touchdown passes to himself. All right, so let's get to this. The answers here, Zach. I'll send you to the chat. Are the Titans better, worse, or the same? Better, worse, or the same with Mike McCoy as the interim coach? The YouTube poll is about to go up here there for that. But what are you seeing from the comments so far?
So I think this is good because a bad team. Did you get worse or did you get better? Or did you stay the same?
Staying the same, being awful. Yeah.
Yeah, so Darius says the same, but Cam looks better in his opinion. The juror says worse. Curtis says same. Hashtag says worse. Michael says worse. Hello Ladies says same. So does Ryan. So does Ariyoshi. Titans fan 81 says the same. Vanessa says the same. The same from Jason. Worse from Eric. The same from another Eric Castillo. Can't get any worse. DeMario says worse. Sadler says same. Same ass from American Tough. Caribbean Daniel says same. Better, no question, from Jack Black. So there's kind of the first better in that sense. Smokey says much worse, about the same. Same from Steven. Worse from Jack. Deborah says it feels worse. Amnesia says better, but still making dumb coaching decisions. And that was the change that happened, was the coach. Tighten Up says same. So does Connor. So does Scott. So does Keelan. So does Rambo. Slightly better from James. Got worse from the juror. Worse there on YouTube. So I think the majority, as Chris, Tall Texan, Mamba, all say the same. And so does Top Tier. I think the majority is saying the same, and that's a bad team staying the same.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think, a very good question, honestly, because you have Brian Callahan, who he was coaching for his job. Mike McCoy is not coaching for his job.
Yeah.
The results are the same. Losses.
You're the same.
Blowout losses. This team, I think here's my thought. The result is the same by getting blown out. I think Cam Ward, I see him sometimes get better. I actually started this comment from earlier in the show where Jonah says the run scheme needs to change and Cam needs to learn how to use his legs if no one is getting open. I like that comment because Cam Ward does need to learn how to use his legs better. I'm not saying be Jaden Daniels or Josh Allen. That's not what Cam Ward is or needs to be. But he does need to understand that using his legs, he needs to be taught that or coached that. And we're still in learning mode. But granted, the weapons he's throwing to are so young and so inexperienced, and he gets the benefit of the doubt there. I say that they're the same. I don't think that they're better or worse.
Yeah, I think the hard thing is that Jeffrey Simmons is hurt. Calvin Ridley is hurt. And you see the drastic difference in both units with those guys not there. This defense can't hold up if Jeff's not out there. The offense is so less explosive. Even with Calvin Ridley dropping passes like he was earlier in the year, you still had to cover him. You still had to, he was due for a 25-yard catch a game on a boot play action rollout. The defense drives me more crazy because I feel like the defense is the same. I feel like the offense is worse. And Snead's also hurt, which, hashtag QJ brings out, why didn't you mention Snead hurt? So yeah, that's 3 of your highest paid guys are now hurt. And Snead, I don't care about him being gone. I just think it's whatever. But if you want to go statistically, the Titans have played 5 games with Bo Hardegree as the play caller and 3 games with Brian Callahan as the play caller. In the 5 games with Bo Hardegree, they have scored a total of 59 points. That's an average of 11.8 per. And they've had 2 touchdowns that did not even matter, right?
Yeah,
the last touchdown against the Colts and the last touchdown against the Raiders in the last couple of weeks. And then they played 3 games with Brian Callahan as the play caller, 51 points. So just a touchdown less than Bo Hardegree's 5 games. And so that's an average of 17 per game. And they didn't have the trash touchdown help at the end of those 3. Now, again, they still got blown out by 3 scores twice, and they lost to the Broncos by 8 in week 1. So it's the result on the scoreboard is still the same, but I do feel like this team is less competitive earlier in the games with Mike McCoy. It's just 2 games, but I don't
know. You're right out of halftime. You're down 17-10. That's the decision we're talking about to get to third. We're not even trying to tie the football game. You're sitting here saying that is competitive. That's late in the game. That late in the game being the third quarter, right? You're closer to the end of the game than you are to the start of the game. That is that's why I think the frustration have come out, and then the snowball effect happened.
But that's what I'm saying is that the Titans in both Mike McCoy games, the Titans have had a decision / play in the third quarter that ended the game, right? Yet yesterday, we just talked about it. It was the decision to punt on 4th and 3. Jonathan Taylor runs it back, game over. Then against the Patriots, it was Cam Ward's fumble return for a touchdown that ended that one when it was kind of close there. Against the Raiders, you had Cam Ward's turnovers that were really hurting that thing. And there was a trash touchdown involved in that game as well. But you kind of had some moments in that game where it could have been close. The Titans had some bad defense there. It's mostly the same because they're still bad, but I do feel like they were more competitive for longer throughout the game when Brian Callahan was calling plays too.
Well, to that point, hindsight, you wish, and it's not surprising that this is the way that it was. You wish Brian Callahan could multitask better as a head coach.
Yeah.
You wish that he could pay attention to in-game, and that's hard. It's not easy. We saw Mike Vrabel struggle with that very early on into his Titans coaching career. He was struggling with managing all of the other stuff. It's not easy. That's why you're the highest paid coach in the franchise. You're the head coach. If Brian Callahan could have been able to call the plays and manage the decision-making within the game, maybe you're a little bit better off. You still end probably with being fired, but that's the problem now, kind of micro analyzing things where Mike McCoy is just managing the game.
Yeah.
And managing the game so conservatively, and you have such bad players, you're going to get this result at the bottom of the screen 9 times, if not 10 times out of 10. It may not be 38-14. Maybe it's 38-21 or 38-24 or 42-35. But that's the results you're going to get with the players that you have. And I also saw this, and I started this, is Compass says earlier in the show, he said, is Mike McCoy being instructed by the front office to tank the season? No. I mean, the answer is no. He's not being instructed to tank the season. If they didn't have a quarterback, they've already tanked the season. Last year, they got their quarterback. It's not like they're going to tank the season for this unbelievable generational talent that's in the draft. They just cannot win games because they are so poorly constructed on their roster, injured, poorly coached, and not a good football team.
All right, I'm going to get to that because I'm going to continue on this because I'm glad I saw you favorite that early on in the show, and I'm glad you brought it up because I want to come back to that, and this will lead me into one of my positives from yesterday. So Cap's question, probably tongue in cheek, is Mike McCoy being instructed by the front office to tank the season? The answer is no, but let's read into this a little bit more. But first, I'm going to tell you guys about our great friends at Botero Carts. Life is short. You should buy a golf cart. Golf carts are fun. Everybody's smiling in a golf cart if you're not on the golf course. Sometimes you are on the golf course. But golf carts can help you out. You and your family can just imagine next summer and spring riding around the neighborhood, going down to the party in the cul-de-sac in your new golf cart and being the look of the neighborhood. Your kids are being able to go back and forth, and you can do these little quick errands in the golf cart. You can do that with Botero carts for residential, for recreational use. If you need it for business use, you can do that as well. They have 2 locations, Columbia and in Gallatin. The website is boterocarts.com. 0% financing for 3 years. That's 36 months for 0% financing. They store their carts indoors. That's big time, especially as the winter weather arrives, and they will not get damaged by. They're pristine by being inside, and they can help you out with whatever financing. No credit card fees, no credit needed option is available if that's what you need to. So life is short. Get yourself a golf cart. Gallatin and the brand new location in Columbia, online, boterocarts.com.
ATOZ Sports. We'll get to some more Titans topics here in a second, but we are powered by BTA Sports, better for bettors. Make sure that you get locked in. You can download the app today. I've downloaded it. Austin's downloaded it. Easton, JT, the whole crew. We use it to get that data and those analytics to help our bets. And you can do that too. It has really paid off. They give you the statistics. You make the choice, but that data is very valuable. Download the app today. That's BTA Sports.
All right. So, Zach, you brought up Cap's comment. Is Mike McCoy being instructed by the front office to tank the season? So, no is the short answer. But, the results of the poll question, are the Titans worse, better, or the same with Mike McCoy as head coach? Only 9% of the YouTube votes say better. You've got 24% that say worse and 67% that say the same, which is awful. So only 9% think that they're better with Mike McCoy. So that's kind of my whole thing is like, what was the point of firing Brian Callahan after 6 games, right?
Pressure, embarrassment.
Exactly. That's the reason why it happened. But what was the point? The point was the potential further ruining of Cam Ward I mean,
No, the point is action, right? Where fans were calling for Brian Callahan to get fired. It wasn't just Amy's decision waking up saying, "Oh gosh, there was pressure from the fan base to do it." So
I understand, and nobody's saying that Brian Callahan didn't deserve to be fired at some point because of this season. It's just the point of doing it with 11 games left is insane, because now there's quit moments. And every week the Titans are playing after the coach has been fired, there is a moment where the players go, what, why, for what? Right. And it was after the punt, and it was after Cam Ward's fumble against the Patriots. There's going to be a moment in the next game. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, why am I going to put myself out here and strain for what? The coach has already been fired. This season's a waste. So there is a give up moment every week within this locker room because they made the decision to fire the coach, where the only reason I think to truly fire a coach in the season, if you're a football team, is if that is already happening before the coach is fired. If you are seeing give up moments and quitting in that locker room with this current head coach, you gotta knock him out. But that wasn't happening with Brian Callahan, and I don't think it was going to happen with Brian Callahan for at least another month through the bye week, because they had, that's just how that happens. At some point there is, once you get closer to Thanksgiving and the holidays, but they just accelerated that for what? Because your owner got embarrassed because she had a big sweet family and friends in Vegas. Yeah.
But I think it was easier because of what Brian Callahan was. Brian Callahan wasn't Brian Kelly or James Franklin or John Gruden, and didn't have this massive contract. It was a, I don't want to say a flyer, because I think that is not necessarily the word, but I thought it was easier to move on for Brian Callahan because you didn't have a lot invested in him. We don't know the full, construction of the contract.
We know he had 3 years after this one, so he's getting paid out of that. But,
right, but it probably not that much. He could not demand a massive buyout or something of that nature. So I think that went into the ease of making the decision when the decision was made, on top of the embarrassment and on top of the pressure.
Yeah, but back to are they tanking the season? Like, they decided to tank the season when they fired Brian Callahan. Because Brian Callahan, if he was still coaching, probably goes for it on fourth down. Brian Callahan has something still to lose. Mike McCoy, we already said, he doesn't have anything to gain either. Brian Callahan has reputation to gain by continuing to play and coach hard throughout the year if he still has his job, because he's trying to get, if he already knows he's done from this organization, he still is trying to do something, right, to get his next job somewhere else in the league. And so right now you got a lame duck Mike McCoy coach who's out there doing nothing because he's going to go hang out with his family after the year.
I think it's tough. I would love, this would take some info, some time to research, but youngest team or most inexperienced team on the field yesterday in the league. I mean, look at who they're relying on. All these guys Tyler Lockett is gone. He's the Raiders.
He wasn't doing much either.
Right? Calvin Ridley didn't play. Jeffrey Simmons didn't play. Jarius Sneed didn't play. They have 2 rookies on their offensive line, or 2 inexperienced, not rookies, but in Skoronski and Latham. Iomanner, DK,
Helm. I mean, you're talking about your most experienced guys are like Cody Barton.
Chig is still on a rookie deal.
The safeties are the group of safeties minus Winston are veteran guys. Woods wasn't out there.
Devondre Sweat, Cam Ward, rookie. Tony Pollard have experience. Tajay Spears doesn't have that much.
Yeah, a lot of rookie contracts.
So the expectation of the tools that they are using, it's, I don't want to say an impossible job. And that's why I'm raking Mike McCoy over the coals, because I don't feel like he wants it, or he's trying to get the most out of every single ounce. He's not trying to the utmost degree. He's going through the motions. And there's nothing worse than somebody just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Especially because we're seeing it firsthand and then we're getting the same result on the field.
Yeah. All right. So to finish I have 3 positives from yesterday. One of them, which is the theme of are they tanking the season on purpose? The Jets won yesterday. That's good. You're now equal with the worst record in the league, having everybody with at least 1 win. So now you have an opportunity to have the worst record again. And yeah, you've got a quarterback. So what do you need? As many big swings at better players as you can possibly get. And that is something that I think is only a good thing to have the Jets win a game, because currently the Titans are picking 3rd. The Saints, the Jets, and the Titans. Yesterday, the first time, October 26th, I went to tankathon.com to see the current standings after the Jets won. And so the Saints, the Jets, and the Titans are 1, 2, and 3 with 9 games and 10 weeks left in the NFL season. But that's a good thing, because you need that leverage, because the Jets and the Saints both need quarterbacks. There's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks as well. And if you can have one of those quarterback draft spots, you can trade back, you can double trade back, you can figure out how you can get more and more draft capital to get better players, because you need better players. We all know that. And shout out Jarvis Brownlee Jr. for helping the Jets to win that game. Somebody asked, why did they trade Brownlee? Who was behind that? I don't know, not to get too far off on another tangent here, Zach, but I feel like Jarvis Brownlee Jr. was traded by either Mike Borgonzi or Chad Brinker. One of those 2 guys traded Jarvis Brownlee Jr. That was the decision. I don't know if they knew that Brian Callahan was going to get fired 3 weeks after that. I don't think they would have traded Jarvis Brownlee Jr. I think they would have kept Jarvis Brownlee Jr. if they knew the coach was not going to make it the whole season and was going to get fired in season. Because part of the messaging from the team was that Jarvis Brownlee Jr. wasn't a culture fit. He was a potential rotten fruit in November, December for a bad team. If you've already fired the coach, who cares? Keep the talented player. But if you were going to keep that coach the whole way, then maybe you get rid of the rotten fruit before everything else gets rotten. But I think Brinker and Borgonzi were operating under the fact that Callahan was not getting fired in season, so they moved Jarvis Brownlee Jr. That's just a thought.
Yeah. No, well, and there's a lot of nuance in the front office, because that was the decision made there. So, yeah, I think it's kind of in the past. You did bring up the tankathon thing, and this is, if you look down at the end of the season, it's actually pretty interesting, because in back-to-back weeks, you have the Jets playing the Saints on December 21st. Then the next week, the Titans play the Saints on December 28th.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some shakeup regardless of it. And we all seen at the end of the year, like the Jets, the last game of the season, they play Buffalo. Well, Buffalo could be playing for something. They could be playing for nothing. We saw that flip last year with New England and Buffalo, right? In that whole situation, you don't know who's going to win. The Saints play the Falcons, who we don't know where the Falcons are going to be at the end of the year. So this is the best part about the NFL on both sides of the spectrum, is at the end, you're sitting here and you're like, look, anything can happen, but these teams are going to play. All three are going to influence in some regard the last 3 weeks of the season. And I hate to say this in October, but here we are.
Here we are. Yes. Happy Halloween. All right. I do have 2 positives. Let's get to my 2 positives. I think 2 players need a bigger role with this offense. But first, Zach, tell everybody about the Bone and Joint Institute.
Yeah, the Bone and Joint Institute is where you need to go to not fumble on your recovery. The Bone and Joint Institute has been trusted by ATOZ Sports, and we've trusted them for a number of years. They've got a state-of-the-art facility down there in Franklin, Tennessee, and satellite locations all across Middle Tennessee, which is so valuable in your time of need. You need a specialist that understands what your pains are, whether it's your shoulder, your knee, something's happened to your hip. you have an old injury that you haven't gotten looked at, well, go to the Bone and Joint Institute. And it may be that, or maybe your kid was jumping on a trampoline, broke his arm. That happens as well. You need a specialist to make sure that they're getting the best care possible. We trust the Bone and Joint Institute on all different sides of things because they are experts. You've heard and seen the doc talks that talk through the Titans injuries. That's the Bone and Joint Institute. They can help you on all different fronts. Visit them for your time of need.
BTA Sports, we've talked about it a few different times, a great opportunity to win some more money tonight, and you can use our code when you download the BTA Sports app to get a 14-day free trial. It's 14 days when you download the app using our code ATOZ14, or you can click on the link in the Facebook title or the YouTube description right there to make it easier for you. You get a 14-day free trial before a weekly subscription cost of $9.99. You get 2 full weekends to use BTA Sports before you got to pay anything. It's a great opportunity right there to make yourself a better sports better. Zach, I think 2 guys need more run on this offense, and they're probably pretty obvious for you guys. One of them helped me win some money yesterday. I had a decent amount of money, about 1.5 units on Chim DK over 30.5 yards, and he had that pretty quickly on his first 2 catches. I think the one guy who has, I think, the cleanest resume of anybody on the Titans right now is Chimry DK. He can't block in the quick screen game, but outside of that, what he does is usually really good. Like returning, he hasn't muffed anything. He hasn't fumbled. He hasn't really had a drop like others in the pass catching group have. He's explosive. He's got true speed. They use him in many different ways. I think Chim DK is the cleanest resume Titan on the roster right now. I think he needs more and more, and we've seen it. That's 2 games where he has gotten more of the starting snaps and the slot, and he's been very productive with 70 and nearly 100-yard game yesterday against the Colts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like I don't want to say it's all doom and gloom. I think there can't be every single facet doom and gloom, right? I mean, there are, we sat there and we had how many percentage said that they've improved?
It was better 9%.
They're 9. There's 9%. So there is some facet. So yeah, I don't disagree in that manner.
Chim DK is probably that 9%. Because that's where Cam Ward has thrown for 170 yards and a touchdown when targeting Chim DK in the last 2 games. So
that was one of the first questions that we had on the broadcast was it going to be Femi versus DK? Who was going to have a bigger impact? The results are in. It has been, and Femi's been hurt, but yeah. DK has yielded a burst on special teams that the Titans have lacked for a very, 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 very long time. And he's now being thrown into the offense even more because of the circumstance of Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett.
For sure. And again, he is the cleanest resume. I think the other guy that I think needs more run is Tyjae Spears. When Tyjae had that 40-plus yard run early in the game on Sunday, I was like, you know what? That's the most give a damn effort, competitive spirit that I've seen from a Titan in a bit. That was Tyjae Spears, good for you, man. Go get it. Because he's been unfortunately battling injuries for the majority of his time with the Titans. And every time you hear somebody that is around that team talking about who's the most positive outlook guy on the roster, it's Tyjae Spears. Yet he's battling injuries and he's still the most positive guy out there. And he's fighting hard. He's running. He earned that touchdown late in the trash time. I'll give Tyjae a lot of credit. I like what he is. I like what he showed yesterday with both running and in the pass game. This is not an anti-Tony Pollard take. I just think Tony Pollard is mentally and physically getting beat down. But Tyjae, 59 yards rushing and add another 23 in the air with a touchdown on the ground. That he only had 9 carries and 3 catches. So, but I think Tyjae Spears is somebody who I want to see get more and more and more because he's going to help Cam Ward in the pass game as well. I also noticed early in that game on clear passing 3rd down situations, they moved Tyjae Spears in there for pass protection. And you notice he was up towards the line of scrimmage, kind of behind the lineman almost like he was lined up, ready to go as an offensive lineman. But I think Tajay Spears needs some more run.
I'm going to throw a positive in there. And this is weird, but the last 2 games, the Titans have had 3 penalties for 15 yards and 3 penalties for 34 yards. That's not what that stat line looked like when Brian Callahan was the head coach. Think about that.
It is true.
Because self-inflicted wounds and penalties were killing them early in the season. We're still kind of early in the season, but earlier in the season.
Now, there was no L'Jarius Sneed.
3-3, you can work with 3-3.
Yeah. How many of those were declined? Like I think there's a lot of decline penalties that happen in there with both those, but there's also no L'Jarius Sneed in there to get the back-breaking defensive hold on 3rd and 8 incompletion that we've seen so many different times. They didn't line up off sides. They didn't do that yesterday. That's progress. That drives me insane.
Well, the other hard part about the penalties is, the Colts just caught the ball. You're right. The defense was bad enough for the Colts to actually catch the ball, and it didn't need the interference.
I was going to add, Jalen Armour-Davis isn't close enough to wide receivers to have a penalty.
Yeah, you've given up, and Jason's like, "Wow, glass half full this morning." Well, you've given up on the season. Oh, there's so much bad. The glass half full is a thimble of water at the bottom of the glass, so it's not half. But there is, I think, what we're doing here for this particular segment, which we should be proud of ourselves for, at least acknowledging that there is water in the glass. It's not a lot, but there is some liquid in this glass. That's more than an empty glass.
Yeah. And okay, maybe tomorrow we can go deeper into the rookie youth movement on offense because you've seen Cam do some stuff. We've seen DK make strides. Gunnar Helm continues to make strides. And Aya Manor, we can talk through that, but maybe we can talk through some of that more of extended topic on tomorrow's show. But yeah, I have 3 positive. The Jets won, so now everybody's gonna win. You're even at the bottom for that top draft pick. Chim DK, give him more. Tajay Spears, give him more. I like those 2 pieces to add some juice and explosive to this offense. And then Zach, you had 6 penalties combined in the last 2 weeks. That's accepted penalties. That's a good thing. All right, let's go ahead and get to some super chats here in a second. Shout out to Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon. They'll help you save some money on that new ride. Don't pay those downtown Nashville prices. That's ridiculous. Go see Payne Bone, our buddy out there in Lebanon, out I-40 East from downtown at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. All right, super chats. Let me start in chronological order. Andre has a couple of them. Says, I feel bad for Denard. You see, he has a system that could work if he at least had something to work with instead of no pass rush, no cornerbacks, and 1 linebacker. Thoughts?
Bingo. But sometimes you're just a product of chaos, and that's unfortunate that he's probably not going to retain his job because they're going to clean house. Who knows what happens with contracts and such. But yeah, it's tough to coach a team that doesn't have players. And Jeffrey Simmons is the linchpin of that defense. Not having him does so much damage.
Yeah. I will say Mike McCoy had a very correct statement in maybe his first press conference after taking over as interim. Good players make good coaches. Now, I'll add, bad players make coaches look worse. Now, sometimes
do bad players make coaches bad?
Bad players make good coaches look worse, but sometimes good coaches make bad players a little bit better, but they're still bad players. Again, you got to have good players. Andre says a different front office and coaches, yet somehow still seem to make decisions and moves that the fans know are mistakes. Got to admire that type of consistency. I'm thinking that's the Jarvis Brownlee trade.
Well, real quick on speaking of Jarvis Brownlee and the Jets had an opportunity to play Flacco and a backup quarterback in Cincinnati with a bad defense, right? That's why they kept that competitive. we also have to recognize that the Titans played one of the best teams in the NFL. The Indianapolis Colts, and what Daniel Jones, their defense, the offense, and everything involved is doing in Indianapolis is impressive. You're not supposed to win those games. You can't really win those games. Can the Titans, as we go back, and maybe this is different, you go back and you look at the schedule, can they be competitive with the Chargers played well on Thursday night, but their offensive line is banged up. Is that something? The Browns in week 14, who knows what happens? We mentioned the Saints earlier in the show. They're going to be scraping for 3 wins again. So, but can they be competitive?
At this point, you don't want them to win games.
No, for sure. But
you want Cam Ward to play better and to put up some numbers. And
I think that's the hard part. You want them to play better football. Yes, you don't want the results to be a bunch of wins because that hurts your draft pick. But Austin, I was there in the third quarter yesterday, and I was like, I don't know how long I can do this. Like, I have to have other games on, and I do anyway. I switched them from another screen.
Now, luckily,
they don't deserve my main TV.
Well, I tried to help you out by working through that Brian Kelly fired scoop that we had. And so that was
plenty of things to do.
That was my second half distraction. That was greatly needed.
That's tough.
Big Ten Jeff says picks don't matter when you don't take wide receivers before round 4. That's a fair point. It's a fair point. But right now, the round 4 pass catchers are looking pretty good. But they're still not number 1s, number 2s. They're probably number 3s, number 4s, and a tight end 1. You can find a tight end in round 4. Plenty of NFL teams are showing that.
You hope that this experience is going to help them in the next 2 years when they do take wide receivers before the 4th round.
Yep.
Big Ten Jeff. I mean, but they're on the long play. That's the hard. You can't look at it. They had to get their quarterback first. They had to secure their offensive line, or at least attempt to. They need pass rushers. There's so much.
So much. All right, guys, maybe we'll talk some of the youth movement, some positives to continue to build on over the 9 games left in this season between the margins of the win-loss record. But that'll do it for us. Thanks, guys, for watching the show. Make sure you hit that like button, like the show before you go. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because we'll have more and more as the calendar continues to get later about the coaching candidacy and some coaching search news and nuggets. We got the trade deadline coming up a week from tomorrow, so there's potential movement this week as well. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to our channel on Facebook and on YouTube. We'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Buck Rising live tonight for prime time. We'll catch you at 8 tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.